Coming at you from Scratch and Wolf Studio. It's that time again to rage across the internet. It's your very favorite Werewolf the Apocalypse podcast. As always, I'm your host, Porter. Sitting across from me, someone you might have heard of before. And that's Daniel Tyson.
Hey, everybody.
And coming in from the other side of the damn country, our very own Mr. CJ.
Howdy, y'all.
Nothing clever today, guys. Suck it.
That's always clever. It's fun, though.
What is it, like 160-something episodes?
Are you kidding?
Something new each time?
I mean, are we counting the Let's Plays or not?
No, because it's a different intro.
Okay, fair.
Thanks for listening to the podcast.
Then it's like 169, 170-ish.
I said 160.
Somewhere around there.
I hate you guys.
Okay.
Secretly love. Secret love.
So welcome to the show. If this is your first time, this is the podcast where we talk about all things Werewolf the Apocalypse for the storyteller and player alike. And if this is your first show, this is a smart one to be at. This is a good one.
I was going to say this would be the one for it to be the first.
We've had a few ones to be the first, but this is, we'll get there. If not, hey, welcome back, everybody. It's good to see you.
Yeah, thank you for coming back.
How are you gentlemen doing?
I'm great. I love recording day.
I'm doing pretty good myself, and recording day is always a fun day.
That's true. That's true.
Cheers to that.
Of course, I am back from a pseudo vacation.
Yeah, how was that? Hope you got to enjoy yourself.
Yeah, ups and downs. You know how it is. But there's a rumor I might take another couple days.
Yeah, whatever. It's fine.
But this is the first, quote, work day.
I was going to say, it wasn't undeserved,
Well,
so...
I appreciate that. But it's strange, to be sitting here in front of the microphone. I haven't seen Discord in a week.
We haven't had the microphones interface in a few weeks now.
Right?
So, yeah. It's weird. A little bit, I get it.
No.
Yeah. But we're still happy to have you back.
Well, thank you. Thank you. This is a return, obviously. But it's also the start of a new series.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess we'll get to that. But we talked back when we did the pitch, which was some time ago.
It was a little while, yeah.
But I believe we almost talked about of us doing a starter series for brand new people. We've got some people in the Discord that are brand new.
Yeah.
Like fucking first day on the ground, have not played a game. How do I make this go? Don't know anything, people. And hey, it's good to have you. I'm glad you're listening. I'm glad you're enjoying the show. Thank you for that.
Yes.
But this is with you in mind. It's with you in mind. It's with the people like our boy Phil, who's got a group of brand new people that are excited to play.
Yeah. And that's exciting to even hear about.
It's important. It's important to hear about. Because as we all know, the brand has gone through some trouble recently.
Trouble.
Let's say some trouble.
We'll say, yeah, that's good enough.
Yeah.
So we need new players, and we need players looking at the right versions. Because, my God, you're going to have people interested. They're going to go, and they're going to go, hey, let me get the new. And the new is not what you want.
No.
We're going to give you what you want and what you need. You're going to be the hero Gotham needs and the hero that Gotham deserves.
Nice. Yes.
But before we do that, we're going to get into a little...
some This Week in Bullshit.
Yeah, a little segment we like to call This Week in Bullshit.
Again, for the brand new people, this is the first 20, 30 minutes or so. We like to just fuck around because we can.
Well, I think I would say we talk about other events, things going on in our lives or in pop culture.
Sure.
Because that sounds less...
intrusive?
Like it's our first day.
Less like... Yeah.
Well, you're better at this
we're just
than
going to
I
talk
am.
about what we want because we can.
Right? Well, why don't you let me do it?
Helping you save your voice a little bit for game day.
That's a lie.
So?
Because I like to sabotage the show. Been doing this for 4 years and your life's not hard enough. That's why.
That's not what I said. You're saying it and it's not true.
No, but we know you well enough that we decipher your
Read between the lines, Dan.
So this week of bullshit is our segment where we talk about various either goings on in our lives or pop culture. Just a little time that we set aside to bullshit before we get to the stuff. And something I want to touch down on this week is, oh my god, that Borderlands movie.
Whoa! Oof. Like, watching trailers, but we're just leave it at the trailers. Just because, yeah, and we knew it was going to be bad.
Oh, certainly.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Just the
Anybody
trailers.
who's a fan of the property knew already this was going to be bad.
Yeah, and the trailers alone, there are so many questions, and usually that question is,
why?
Why?
Perfect.
And you can say why on so many different things. It's like all these questions, but they all mean just why.
Well, I guess the good news is that it's short.
It does end. Oh my god.
This is the surprise of no one. This has
Right.
been a miserable failure. And there's so many reasons to point to. The marketing was terrible. The fact that it was PG was a terrible idea. The casting was a nightmare. The choice of characters is a nightmare. The script was a joke. I personally lean on the casting more than anything, because when you fill the cast with people 2 to 3 times the age of the characters they're supposed to be playing, it becomes less a quest for the treasures of the vault and more a quest for your heart pills.
And that's the thing, is no one's saying anything bad against the cast.
Well, no, that's the thing, is like, we don't have to sit here and go that Jamie Lee Curtis is a great actress. Well, no one has to say that. Right. That's not in question.
That's definitely not in question.
The question
already
is,
know that's a fact.
Why is she in this movie?
Right. She has no business.
Yeah, why is she playing Tannis?
Right?
Kate Blanchett. Again, you have these fantastic actors and actresses. Some of them.
No, you can end it there. I mean, we don't need to.
Well,
no one's calling Jack Black a great actor. Or Kevin Hart.
From what I'm gathering, he was the worst part of the movie.
That doesn't surprise me. Claptrap is a difficult character in the first place.
And they could have left him out and it would have been...
Well, no, you leave him in as a very minor character as he was in the fucking franchise.
Right. But that was not the plan at all. And even though everyone told him it was a bad idea, guess what the fuck happened?
I think my favorite thing is apparently, I can't prove, I've been told this by a reliable source.
Okay.
But apparently, Gina Gershon plays Mad Moxie. Gina, in her 60s, Gershon. And I know Moxie's supposed to be older, but she's supposed to be smoking hot for her age.
Right.
And I'm not saying that Gina Gershon is, she's always been an attractive woman. That's not but again, she's super aged out of the part.
Yes.
However, apparently, in the scene, her big scene, I guess there are like backup dancers or something.
Oh, God.
One of which is the actual voice actor for Moxie.
No!
Oh my God,
What?
really?
Yes. So, why didn't you make her Moxie?
What? Why? Oh my God.
If she looks, again, I don't know. I don't remember the voice actress's name either. So I hate to not be able to give proper credit. But so apparently she's attractive enough to be on screen as one of Moxie's dancers, but not enough to play the role that she plays in the actual series. Just put her. You could pay her half, I'm certain.
Oh, yeah, easy.
It'll be, and it would be accurate. Why didn't you? And this is a testament to the phrase, why didn't you just?
Well, yeah, why couldn't you just? And I think that's our answer when we say why. The other question to this is, couldn't you just?
Right.
Oh my God.
I will also say, I did some digging into this because I was curious of how much of a train wreck it was, even though I am not watching this movie.
Oh, no.
Except for maybe on a bad movie night.
We ain't doing it.
Nope. Like, why would we waste our time?
Yeah, but I did some digging into it, and apparently this is like the 7th or 8th script for this movie. Oh,
wow.
Yeah, this is like the 7th or 8th script, not like revision of the same script. No, like 7th or 8th new script for this movie since it entered its development hell.
Oh my God.
So it means it was denied 6 times.
They also changed directors like 4 times.
I'm
But
not
according
surprised.
to the guy who's like the stunt choreographer for this movie, apparently while they were filming this movie, shot for shot, they were filming an R-rated cut of this movie. You know, they already had the special effects planned. They already had this planned as in, like, they're going to show a lot of blood, gore, guts, and just wacky Borderlands violence at the same time. None of that actually made it into the movie, and a lot of those action scenes were cut in a way to make it as PG as possible. So, part of the reason this movie's so fucking short is they cut out everything that would have made it R.
Oh, that's so embarrassing.
So much of it that would have made it Borderlands.
Right.
Because Borderlands, it's a mature game.
Well, and let's look at this too from an outsider perspective.
Uh-huh.
The movie or the trailer was cut like Guardians of the Galaxy,
Oh, yeah.
which has been done a lot, and people are less fooled about now.
Thankfully.
But also, if you don't know Borderlands, this looks like a weirdo cross between Furiosa and Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yes.
Well, why would you want to see the knockoff version of either one of those? Starring someone's grandma.
Now, at the same time, I've seen reports. Let's just put it that way, because I don't know the numbers offhand, but I've seen people have saying this is on track, at least as of this date today. You know, fucking weirdo RAI Tumbleverse here.
Right.
But it's on track to be the biggest bomb ever. And we laugh because the 2016 Ghostbusters that really doesn't exist was the biggest bomb.
I don't think
this
that's
is
true.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, well, it's up there, though. But, like,
It wasn't successful, but yeah.
Obviously,
Anyway.
not successful, but, like, this is on track to be the movie that has lost the most amount of money possible.
I'd be curious. I know it's done horribly. Last I heard it, I think it pulled in 10 million opening weekend.
And that sounds like a lot.
I mean, it is for us, but we're just people.
Right.
Yeah,
At the same
but when
time,
you're dealing with a budget in the hundreds of millions, if not a billion,
Yeah.
Yeah, it was. It took a lot of money to make this movie, and I can only imagine how much of the money was going towards the actors and actresses because of how.
Hey, you're shelling out Jamie Lee Curtis money for fuck's sake.
Right.
For a role
Kate
that her
Blanchett.
granddaughter should be playing.
and I will say another fun thing about this real quick, since you're shelling out the money for these actors and actresses, I've heard a couple people try to defend the movie.
Why?
Why?
How? Why and how?
But here's the thing. Here's the proof I give against them of like why you cannot defend this movie. The actors aren't even saying anything about this movie. I think Jamie Lee Curtis is the only one to have said it, and I'm not remembering this exactly where I got the source, but I'm pretty sure it was in an interview. She mentioned accepting this role during like the COVID madness.
So she's already bored out of her fucking mind.
That's funny.
Like, if you're in the movie, usually, like, yeah, you promote it yourself a little bit. You'd say, like, yeah, no, fun time, or it was a great movie, it was great to be in. But if even the main character actors are saying nothing good about this movie,
Yeah.
Well, they know. They already got paid, so they don't give a shit anymore.
Well, like, even Eli Roth at opening weekend.
You start blame somebody else.
Well, no, he what was that statement?
praised it.
Well, no, he was like, you come on, just see it. Just turn off your brain and like it that way. And like,
Wow.
we had a lot of people work hard on it, so you should see it because you owe it to the visual effects artists. I'm like, they got paid though.
They already got paid.
Yeah, that's not.
So turn off my brain, become stupid, so it makes you feel better.
Yeah,
That you made a shitty movie and did a really shitty job.
that's about it. Yeah.
How about go fuck yourself?
Well, I love the turn off your brain excuse. Like that's you don't need standards. That's stupid. Just turn off your brain
You don't need
and
standards.
accept whatever you're being fed.
Yep.
And well, the scary thing is I think that becomes more and more a thing now.
Oh, man.
And I think it kind of has been for a bit.
It has, yeah.
That and I've talked about this in other contexts,
Other movies, even.
other movies, other shows, other. But I think time and time again, what you will hear is, something like, well, just be happy they're making something for you. It's like, well, no, they're getting paid to make something.
Yes.
So that's already not an argument. But, and we've talked about this.
A passion project by a bunch of fans.
Right, exactly. But this comes back to standards. It comes back to, you ordered a steak and they gave you a Happy Meal.
You better be happy about it.
Right. Well, that's what they expect. They're saying, well, you should be happy you got food. No. I ordered a steak.
Yeah.
And you gave me a Happy. I don't accept a Happy Meal. I am better than a Happy Meal. You are better than a Happy Meal. Do not accept mediocre because mediocre is all they're giving you. Say no. Expect better. And we've talked about this in other contexts, which I don't want to get into right now. But I maintain, and I'm saying this to you guys, and you guys know, I'm saying this to you guys at home. Don't accept a Happy Meal. I mean, maybe you want one someday. You like the toy comes with a neat toy today, and you're feeling nostalgic. That's fine.
If that's what you want.
Right, but you have to decide that you want to do that.
Yeah.
We watch shitty movies for our movie night because we enjoy schlock and making fun of a movie.
We're not picking those movies because, you know what? They made a movie about sharks on the moon, and that sounds really awesome. I really want to know what that's about.
Right. If I sit down to watch The Godfather and you give me Shark Side of the Moon, I'm pissed.
Right.
Because I ordered The Godfather.
Yes.
If I came in for Shark Side of the Moon, I'm thrilled.
Tossed at your head.
Right?
Yeah. Don't lower your standards. Don't turn off your brain because Eli Roth is an asshole and wants you to lower your standards. Yeah, I'm calling you out, Eli Roth.
Don't turn off your brain because Eli Roth is an asshole. I love it.
Well, he's the one who said turn off your brain, and you're absolutely right. I'm not turning my brain off to lower my standards because he says so.
Right. I'm not going to pretend to like Borderlands because you did a bad job.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, I did see some reviews on the movie, and I saw some reviews about people who never even played Borderlands before. They know of Borderlands, but they never played it, so at least, they have that, I guess, least biased going in there. And he was just like, I'm dumbfounded by the decisions made on the script.
Well, see, that's the thing too, right? Mm-hmm. Like, it needs to succeed as a movie at all.
Yeah.
I totally agree. This was a huge complaint I had with Captain Marvel. Because it failed as a movie.
Yes.
On top of anything else wrong with it.
There was a lot.
You had a character who didn't have an arc. You had a character that was never in peril. That's a different thing. But, so yeah, it has to be a movie first. It has to tell a story. It has to be on, but you shouldn't. I shouldn't say can't. You shouldn't look at these things in a vacuum.
Right.
A movie of Borderlands needs to be judged on the yardstick of Borderlands.
Right.
Not something that happens to be called the Borderlands. It's like, and I think the fairest example I can give is the live action Daredevil series. The one from Netflix.
Yes.
Those of you new around, Daredevil is my favorite superhero. I love Daredevil.
You were very critical of Marvel movies as it is.
Yeah. I'm very critical of anything I'm passionate about because I see how great the thing is and how great it can be.
Yes.
And it pisses me off when they get it wrong. Because
you have standards.
Right. Because this could be amazing and you chose to phone it in. You look at I love me the Fantastic Four.
Yes.
The best Fantastic Four movie was the goddamn Roger Corman one that was never released. Every big budget Fantastic Four movie has been a failure because you have people who don't give a shit.
Yeah.
Doing a bad job. So I get mad. But I look at Daredevil because I love Daredevil. He's and I think largely that series is excellent.
Yes.
But with the mistakes they make, I hammer them for it. And you go, but it's, hey, it's the live action. It's the, you look at I'm not talking about the movie. Because I'm not talking about the movie.
Yeah, no. It's different. Jesus. I get it.
But it's like, you you can't judge it away from the source material.
Right. If that's all you have it to compare it on, guess what? That's what you're going to compare it on to.
Well, yeah, like if you don't know anything about Daredevil, you're going to walk in, you're not going to see any faults because you don't know where there are faults. You know, but if you know the characters, if you know where they have done things wrong, and sometimes why they've done them wrong, you know, some of that was legal. I'm not here to pick on Daredevil or the show. Right. What I'm saying is you can't not judge it. You can't walk into a Batman movie like you've never heard of Batman.
Right.
And even if somehow you've never heard of Batman, you're going to watch that movie, and even if it's your favorite movie ever, if they did not do a good job, as soon as you start looking into more Batman stuff and you go back to watch it, you'll wonder why why this movie was so good the first time you watched it. Is because you didn't know any better, because the directors didn't have to do a good job.
Right. And, you know, that's not to say you can't like a thing that you like. That's not what we're doing here.
Right.
But I know like 3 people are going to get that message wrong.
Oh, yeah. Well,
that's not what we're saying.
You can very easily say, just because you liked something doesn't make it good.
Also true. I look back to Shark Side of the Moon.
Right. We
loved that shit.
It was one of the
awful.
worst. Yeah, and it was so awful, but it was so much fucking fun.
Hilarious.
What was the other one?
It was...
with the dog one, the werewolf one that wasn't dog soldiers, and I tricked Strides. Is it Battle Dogs?
Yes, Battle Dogs.
Yes.
Like, this is close enough. This is just out of spite.
Not out of him, though. Out of the existence of dog soldiers,
right? And it was
soldiers battle. They're both. It's fine. Same thing.
And we had a good time, and we loved the movie.
Right, but it's a terrible movie.
But it's terrible.
You can enjoy a bad thing. That's fine. Just not the stuff.
That's kind of the point here. Is just because you liked it doesn't make it good. What's the Space Cop?
I love Space Cop.
But it's one of our favorite movies. Here at RAI, it's one of our favorite movies. It is one of the worst movies ever made.
That's not true.
Okay, fine.
You are being hyperbolic. It's not a good movie.
Okay, fine. I'll just say it's not a very good movie.
Yes.
But it's still an excellent time.
And that's the thing, is like, if you're going into it knowing that this isn't a good movie, have fun, enjoy it. This is the time that you turn off your brain. But if you're being sold that this is, you know, the summer blockbuster,
right,
that has got billions poured into it, don't settle.
When again, it's the please turn off your brain to justify what I did to you.
Yeah.
And actually, another great example of that
was doing this to ourselves.
Right. Another great example of that was the Days of Futures Past movie.
Yeah.
You were there, were you not?
I didn't see it with you.
Okay.
But I went into it. Yeah, I went into it because I saw it a couple of days after you, I believe, or before, whatever the case was. And I went with like a bunch of my cousins.
Okay.
And we all were having a good time. And I went into it not knowing of Days of Futures Past before going to see it.
I find that hard to believe and strange.
I know. I should have known better, but I went into it excited that I got to see X-Men, and I was excited I get to see some other names, like names that I liked. Mm-hmm. And then I was excited to talk about it. And they're like, "Oh yeah, well, what did you like about it?" And then I realized that I had nothing to say anymore. It's like, "Oh, you thought it was good, huh? Well, what was good about it?"
Was this a conversation you had with me about this?
Yes.
Okay, that sounds like me.
Yeah.
Well, because, you know, a lot of people go, you liked it, you're dumb and a piece of shit.
Yeah.
I go, well, what about it did you like?
Right. And that was
like, I'm questioning you at that point.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I was like, oh, you liked it, did you, Dan? I mean, yeah, it was cool. I got to see this character, and I'm a huge fan of Psylocke, so that was awesome. And okay, so what was good about the movie? So Psylocke was in it, and
that was Apocalypse. She might have had a cameo.
Yes, maybe, like whatever the case was. Like, but I didn't have anything good to say. I realized that I went in there with very low standards, and I was excited because my standards were low, and I didn't know any better. And then you look back, it's like, oh, no, this wasn't a good movie. I had a good time, but I think it was more of the company I was there with And what I was expecting to see was nothing much. And I got nothing much.
Okay.
But we love Borderlands. So if I'm going to go see Borderlands, I want to see Borderlands.
Well, you wanted to see X-Men. Yeah. You kind of co-opted that and then took it nowhere. So what do you mean?
I'm just saying, yeah, but now I have standards.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I should have had standards with X-Men.
Well, that's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
Is, I was in town when that movie came out.
Correct.
I was here on vacation, and I was with our buddy Chase and Jessica. And we're up at the movies, opening night, and we did a couple shots before we went in.
Which I imagine was the only reason you tolerated it.
No, because I walked in knowing it was going to be a disaster.
Okay.
In my heart, I'm like, this is going to be the worst thing. Like, they have been making X-Men movies, at that point, I don't remember when that movie came out. I don't know, 2010. So, something like that, right? So, like a decade of fucking X-Men movies, and they made one that was barely passable. First class. I love X-Men. They fucked it up for decades. Now, decades.
Yep.
And so I knew it was going to be a disaster. But Chase walked in hopeful.
There was his mistake.
And we sat through that movie. And, obviously, you get done with the movie, we go out to dinner afterwards. He did not say a word from exiting the theater to about halfway through dinner.
I can imagine it's just disappointment the entire time.
This stunned silence. Not a word out of his mouth. I wanted to get the poor guy a trauma blanket. And the difference was he was expecting like a B+ film, and I was expecting an F-. So every time dumb shit happened, I was laughing and enjoying it.
And he was even more
horrified.
Yeah.
Yes. Remember Warpath? Look, this man is fast and strong and has a feather in his hair. It's Warpath. Bye. Remember Sunfire? He shoots the fireballs. Boom, fireball. Bye. Hey, remember Iceman? Whoosh, things is icy. Bye. Save the movie.
Oh, yeah.
I just half the movie. That was a long movie, too.
The game of the movie was just flashes of cameos of characters you've heard of before.
Yeah.
They didn't do anything of substance. They didn't say anything. They didn't have a role to play. It was like, where's Waldo?
It's not this one.
Do you see the mutant you remember? Gotta make Hugh Jackman the star. That's not the story, but you've got to make Hugh Jackman the star.
Yeah. I think that part irritated me the most.
Yeah. Fucking, that is a Kitty Pryde story, folks.
I can only imagine knowing who Chase is, knowing Chase's extensive knowledge of all this, that halfway through dinner, him not saying anything for the last 3 hours, he's finally just going to flip his fork off the plate and go, what the fuck?
Oh, God.
When I ask him. I'm going to ask him if that's what happened.
So it was a long time, but yeah, that was... You know what you're getting into is the point.
Yep.
And don't see Borderlands.
Yep, that's this week of bullshit. Don't go see Borderlands.
That's this week in bullshit. Now on to the show. So hey, if you enjoyed that...
Yes.
Or enjoy Werewolf in general, or what we do, have a good time here, please give a thought to giving us some support, which you can do at our Ko-Fi. That is ko-fi.com/rage across the internet.
All one word.
That's right. And from there, you could sign up to one of our 4 tiers currently, all of which have various rewards, ways of us saying thank you for what you do. Things including a postmortem series where we dissect games that not these guys have played, games that I have told in the past. We have an NPC of the Month Club where something directly from my creative Bible comes to you every month. We have our backer hangout night.
And our backer game team.
That is true as well. If you're not in a position to give us a monetary donation, we completely understand because we also live in the world and we know, my God.
Yeah, how difficult it is right now.
Right. Let me tell you something.
Yeah.
We just made an order. Here's a fucking spoiler. We may be, again, looking into reopening the store, and we may have just put in a sample order to quality control a couple of products.
Yikes.
And the cost of shipping.
What the fuck? Oh, man.
No joke, priority shipping was twice the cost of the fucking order. We didn't do it.
Oh, boy.
Right. So we understand if you're not in a position, right, to donate, there are other ways you can help. Wherever you're listening, there is a way to rate. A thumbs up, an official rating, So please do. Positive reviews, positive ratings, that gets us recommended to more people.
Likes and shares. And
yes.
Hell, just word of mouth. Telling your friends what you liked about it. Telling your friends about us at all. It's all appreciated.
Yeah, help us get the word out there. Every little bit helps. This is a labor of love. And I don't know, help. Just, geez,
Yes,
help.
help, please. Any little bit of that helps.
And Danny's dog needs you.
No, you're putting my dog in the line again. Help me save my puppy. I will not let her go.
If you don't help the show, man's got to eat. So
Oh, no. She's an old puppy, but she will always be my puppy.
it's going to be very tough meat, and he's going to lose a dear family member if you don't help.
Oh.
Help him feed his family, not dog. Save Danny's dog.
Save my dog. Help us get the show out.
And also, you can always join our Discord and come hang out with us. The link to our Discord can be found on our forums,
Right in the news section.
which can be found on our website, which is rageacrosstheinternet.com.
.com.
All right. And on with the show.
On with it.
Okay. So, as we mentioned at the top, Beth, this is the beginning of a series. We're going to call this Werewolf 101. And the goal here is to give the very beginnings.
Yeah.
To tell people unfamiliar with maybe even role-playing about Werewolf the Apocalypse. To give your new players who've never played the game somewhere to start. CJ, you earlier, you summed it up quite succinctly.
The too long didn't read for the podcast, basically.
So there you go. So that's what we're going to provide to you today. We're going to start this new series, Werewolf 101, with the Garou. And Danny, what are Garou?
In basic layman's terms, we're just werewolves.
That's correct. That is the term the werewolves have for themselves. You see, Werewolf the Apocalypse, when you think of werewolves, I think you can think of a lot of things.
Oh, yeah.
Right, but I think, and I can't speak for everybody. I'm not speaking for myself, but I'm speaking for like the pre-Werewolf the Apocalypse version of Porter. Right?
Okay.
I guess.
That's fair. We're going beginnings here.
But I think you picture like Lon Chaney. I'm looking at the moon and I'm losing control. I can't control what happens to me, and I'm a beastman, and I'm going to wake up in the woods and go, huh? Somebody lock me up. Right? We think of American Werewolf in London.
Oh, yeah.
Again, or Lon Chaney, or maybe the Monster Squad, and some of you people are going, what are those things, old man?
Oh, fuck off. They're amazing. Just go with it.
Or Jack Nicholson in Wolf.
Ooh, nice one.
Jack Nicholson, Michelle Pfeiffer, James Spader. Holy shit, can I watch this movie again?
I mean, yes.
However,
I really want to.
I haven't seen it in forever.
It's been a while, yeah.
It needs to change. I digress. But the Wolfman, if you will, and that's how I'll refer to that type of, lock me up before the full moon, is not a Garou.
No. There's a very distinct difference.
And let's start right there. CJ, how about you help us out with some of the ways that a Garou is not a Wolfman?
The easiest little one that I can point to at first is, your classic Wolfman is a person under a curse or under a spell or whatever to turn into this monster on the full moon. Or a Garou isn't under a curse. They are Garou from the beginning, from birth. They're not a human who changes under the full moon or anything. No, they are Garou.
That's true. A Garou is born a Garou. Now,
They might not know it.
true. Either there are three types, if you will, three breeds
Yes.
The Hamid, which is born as a human, is not a human, but
you don't know it until we'll get there.
Lupus was born as a wolf, or the Metis, not to be confused with Métis, which is a different thing entirely. And
there's
a bit of a slur, and that's not my bad, guys.
Yeah,
but the Metis,
if you want to know more, World of Rage, page 7.
Yep, right there. It says it. It's 2 different words,
but it's a different thing. We're not doing that right now.
Not there.
We're not even getting to the Metis at the moment because. So a Hamid was born amongst humans, and then around between 10 and 16, customarily goes through their first change, where it's 2 and 3 is a lupus because it's wolf ears, which is when you have that first change and you learn about your true nature. But yes, you are always a Garou. You may have grown up in a different society briefly.
A standard Garou is in control.
Yes, they're in control of when they change. And moreover, it's not just that kind of hairy dude.
Yeah.
With the wolf nose. Yeah. The Wolfman.
Wolf. Okay, fine, Wolfman. Yeah.
They have 5 forms to choose from. You have, again, Hamid, the human appearing form. You have Glabro, the kind of near man, missing link, which is kind of akin to the Wolfman, frankly.
Right.
The really hairy dude with kind of sharp nails and fangs.
Looking like a little bit more like a modern depiction of maybe a hairy Wendigo.
Okay.
Sure.
The longer arms, sharper fangs, claws.
Probably bigger, know.
Yeah.
Being lifted some weight, but a Glabro form can pass for human in low light. Or more so with certain, but again, we're not back of the box.
Yeah.
You have the Krynos form, which is the feral werewolf form.
Right.
That hybrid of the two, which we see more of recently.
And the war form.
Yes. And then, of course, Hispo, which is like a dire wolf. So right out of Game of Thrones, right?
That's I love that.
You're not mistaking that for a big dog.
Exactly.
Right. Yeah, I love that way to put it.
The size of a small horse.
Yeah. It's still a quote-unquote dog or a wolf, but it is a very large wolf. Wolves are larger than dogs already. Now, triple, quadruple, maybe even 6 times that size. That's a... And we've made the distinction, it's like almost like a Sherman tank.
Yes, it's been free. And then finally, Lupus, which is the wolf appearing form. So yes, unlike a wolfman, a Garou has the 5 forms to choose from. Which again, they can go into those forms at will.
Yeah, with or without the full moon.
Or at will.
Yes. Yes.
We've got the forms, we've got what they are. Do you think we should hit on that first change a little bit more? Like, what is it? It's a usually fairly important part of the character.
I agree, but let's hold off on that for a second, because I think there are other tropes of the Wolfman that we need to talk about, and I think one of those right now is silver.
Okay.
Where in the movies, sometimes it's a silver bullet through the heart, sometimes it's a silver bullet in the bottom of the foot is enough, frankly.
Just being touched by silver.
Like the silver head of a cane that they just scoop with.
Exactly. It depends on your source in terms of movies or folklore, but Garou have remarkable regenerative abilities. And silver does harm them. So do a few other things, but yes, silver is a problem, but it's not an instant death.
No, it's also part of their culture.
Very much so. This is something that came to them through Luna, through the moon, but that's a different episode. Because again, we're keeping this nice and pure here. Nice and fucking,
Pure. Like silver.
I hate us both.
Silver can be a problem for werewolves, though. Yes, it is something that won't kill them immediately, or potentially, but it is one of the few things that will cut through a lot of their resilience.
Yes, their natural defenses, if you will. It does a thing called aggravated damage, which is a special type of damage, and it's a game mechanic, which again is not for what we're doing right now. But it's not touch it and you're dead.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe you don't get shot in the face with a silver bullet.
That would hurt.
Maybe you don't get shot in the face at all. That's just life advice.
Life advice.
Yeah.
I know when I go out, I try not to get shot in the head.
Right. Yeah, definitely try.
Yeah, it ain't pleasant.
I mean, it's never happened, but I can only imagine.
Garou are natural creatures. Where werewolves are, again, like CJ pointed out, are a curse.
Mm-hmm.
Garou were the children of Gaia, of the spirit of the earth. They are specifically her defenders, her claws.
Mm-hmm.
I like that part the most. I like that we're here to defend the spirit of Gaia. Gaia herself. We are her claws and fangs. We are her defenders above all evil.
Yeah, and because of that, because of their role, because of what they were created for, they are a naturally born warrior race.
Exactly.
Beginning to end, it's very violent and very bloody.
Well, that's something about this game, definitely, right? Is you are part of, you are a Garou. You are a part of this society. And more than likely, you are, a brand new character. So you're brought in from your first change and being introduced to this society that existed this whole time that you knew nothing about, that you've been a part of. Right?
That you're just now learning about.
Exactly. This secret, I will say secret society.
Yeah.
With the goal of trying to prevent the end of the world, to defend Gaia, to defend the Earth. There's a way you look at that and you go, well, so furry Captain Planet, which is just a super oversimplification. I mean, you can get away with saying that, and there's
some truth to it, but it's such a lazy way to do it.
Right. It's so selling everything short here. CJ?
Very much.
It's a yes but no kind of situation.
No, and that's a great way to put it. It's yes. So, a child of Gaia. You are her fangs and claws. You are her warriors. And in that there's also, spirit's a big part of it. There's the moon, there's the sun. Werewolves are part man, part wolf, and part spirit. And we'll get into the spirit stuff in another episode.
Yeah, we'll do these, just not all at once.
Right. We're going to keep these nice and simple for everybody.
Back of the cereal box right now.
Exactly. Part of Garou society is they have their own rules. They have their own laws and rights and in rituals. Chief among them, they have a thing called the Litany, which you could translate to kind of the Garou 10 Commandments.
Right.
We're using quotes here, but again, we're keeping things nice and simple for you. Simple rules like Garou shall not mate with Garou. Why? Because that's spiritual incest.
Right. Spiritual incest, and as a punishment of that, it always creates a metis.
Which is that third breed. And metis always come out sterile and either physically or mentally deformed, or both.
Could be, yeah.
Yep. Or there's some weird spiritual deformities as well. It's a bad time all around.
Yep.
It's a little bit like playing on hard mode. But again...
we'll get there.
Right. You're treated like crap as a metis, but it's fine.
It's fine. But a metis is a deformed Garou. Again, that third breed. Hamid, Lupus, Metis.
Right. So see, we circled back to it. We got you.
Mm-hmm.
But, again, that's part of the litany. Stuff like, and I'm trying to keep it.
Back of the box, yep.
Yeah. Protect the veil. The veil would be the idea that werewolves are fictional.
Yes. Keep the human race, essentially...
in the dark.
In the dark. Exactly. Them knowing about Garou will only cause a mass panic. And it will be a bad time for everybody. We need to protect them, but at the same time, we need to protect them from what's really happening. And in case they have delirium.
And I mean, that's moving from the litany, yeah, because we're not going to go down the whole litany. We don't need to. But yes, you bring up the delirium. And the delirium is a psychological fear that's baked into all of humanity. It is a memory, species-wide memory.
It's a genetic memory.
Yes, of the days, a time long before, when people knew werewolves were real. and that humans were hunted and culled to keep their numbers low, to keep them from doing a whole lot of damage, like creating nuclear weapons and spilling oil into oceans.
Yep.
Obviously, that stopped. This creates a delirium. So what that means is, if someone sees a werewolf in their Krynos form, again, in that werewolf form, right? There's something in their mind, and this isn't true. There's a small percentage that this doesn't happen with.
Very small percentage.
But the vast majority, they kind of snap. Their brains can't handle that, and they react in different ways, but mostly they justify.
Yeah, I was going to say, they kind of put something in their own head that justifies what they saw, and it wasn't a werewolf. It was a giant mutated bear. Or, it was just a bear.
Yeah, that's probably better that, yeah. Or some asshole in a Bigfoot costume.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, no, those are some great examples. And this is if you ever ask, like, okay, how do these 10-foot tall murder machines not just get, why are they not all over the news anyway? How are they actually able to keep this quiet? The delirium is one of those answers. Yeah, if they can't rationalize it away, they usually just forget it. Selective amnesia and stuff like that.
Which is, again, one of the greatest tools against protecting them from humanity.
Agreed.
Mm-hmm.
Now we mentioned Gaia's fangs, Gaia's claws, her protectors, her warriors. Well, what are we warring against? Well, these are the minions of a force called the Worm. And the Worm we'll get into in a later episode. But it is a cosmic force of entropy, of decay, and corruption.
I think corruption explains it the best, because it's trying to take over. It's corrupting everything around it, including Gaia herself. And you have, again, we'll get to it later on, but you have the triad. The Worm, the Weaver, and the Wild. And the Worm is what's corrupting everything, while that triad is supposed to be somewhat of a balance. The Garou are there to bring back that balance.
I mean, that's true. But, again, the Worm... Yeah. I just don't want to compound...
Yeah, no, I know.
Yeah.
I was trying to make it simple.
The Worm is, it's that force of corruption. And this is on a cosmic scale, and it's forces. Corrupted spirits, humans that have been corrupted, often to form like monsters and shit. And this is the kind of stuff that the Garou go after. This is the enemy.
This is that weird, just absolute abomination of all things unholy. This weird monster in the middle of the woods that the Garou are going after, or the one that wears a suit and tie and is hidden amongst everything. Whatever it is, it's the Garou's job to fight it.
There's even a whole tribe of werewolves that have fallen to the Worm. And yeah, I said tribe of werewolves.
We're getting there. All right.
Because that's a thing too, right?
Mm-hmm.
Something that makes them, the Garou, unique. Something that's really cool about the Garou in terms of just, instead of just werewolf or wolfman. Again, we got to keep that distinction. The wolfman, is the fact that there are tribes of Garou. There used to be more, but now there are 13. And each one has a different culture. They have a different totem spirit that looks out for them. That I guess it gives them a blessing, kind of like a demigod.
Yes. So all Garou are serving Gaia, but each tribe are there to serve their specific totem, who's looking out for them.
So looking at those tribes, CJ, let's talk about some of these tribes. Why don't you get us started?
Okay, might as well go in kind of order of what they appear.
I was going to say, let's try to keep that
first tribe
so we don't get confused.
I may or may not have the book open just in case.
Good man.
But yeah, no, the tribes that appear are the Black Furies. They are servants of Pegasus, and this is one of the very few tribes that has like a major exclusion. This is a tribe of nothing but women. These are your warrior women, your Amazons, your defenders of the weak. Defenders of the helpless.
That's my favorite part about this tribe. They are very much defenders of weak and those who can't defend themselves. They don't like it if someone can defend themselves but won't. They find that is even more weak and won't help.
Well, that's true. And I mean, it's brought up, this is a tribe predominantly of women. There are some exceptions. Mm-hmm. But something that's interesting, because, you know, you have the different editions over the years, mm-hmm. that sometimes gets lost. Because, again, as the warrior woman tribe, of course, you make those correlations like the Amazons. Yeah. But then there's also a lot of that that negative stereotype there. Mm-hmm. But it's interesting that they're also the closest to the wild, to nature, mm-hmm. to the in the wild is a
raw force of creation.
Yes.
Right. WYLD.
Why? Because we love this game.
Hey-o.
What? I'm so sorry.
It's fine.
But, you know, so it's often, you know, why sometimes they lean in later editions. Mm-hmm. Sometimes they lean into that, you know, warrior woman thing. I prefer to look at that Guardians of the Wild Places, that particular savagery.
I agree.
Which I think is super cool mm-hmm. and gets often overlooked.
Yes, agreed. And that's why I say that's my favorite part about this tribe is the defenders of the weak, of the helpless, the ones who can't help themselves. Again, my favorite part about it. And again, because we ask about the Discord all the time, who's your favorite tribe? I don't have a favorite anymore. I like all the tribes. I like some more than others, but so I'll have a little bit of a favorite and a least favorite of each of these tribes.
All right, well, let's move to the next one. Daniel?
So the next would be the Bonars. Bonars are more of like a city Garou. They live within the population of the humans, kind of like hiding in plain sight. They live among the squalor. They live in the dumps where they can see all and be looked down upon.
Now, to be clear, Danny, when you say in the dumps, not that they're depressed, that they choose to live is homeless.
Correct.
Is like the bums in the street.
Yeah.
All right. Just to clarify.
You know,
they're not depressed.
You're right.
They're not in the dumps. They're like, oh, nerds, I've had a bad day.
And they do that on purpose.
Literally in the dumps.
Correct. Yeah. And they do this on purpose. Again, this is hiding in plain sight.
Well, I think something great about the Bonars is they are the quintessential underdog tribe.
Yes.
They follow Rat, who is a war totem.
You know, again, my favorite part. There we go.
Often overlooked, but fierce and sneaky and doesn't give a shit. Mm-hmm. You know, the Bonars see and hear things that no one else does because no one gives a shit if the homeless guy sitting in the alley is paying attention. Most people don't even see that guy. They take advantage of that kind of thing.
Yes. They are probably the closest to humans, as in relationship-wise. They look out for the humans the most because of living within, I guess, those ranks.
All the tribes, they do have their own little issues, and sometimes the biggest downside of the Bonars, the biggest negative they have, is their station within Garou society. You said that they're, you know, the defenders of, like, the underdogs, the guys who stand up for the little guys. That's because they are. They are often called the Omega. They are the lowest of the low in the nation. If you want to get something done in Garou society, you're a Bonar, you're going to need either a lot of clout or a lot of important people backing you up, because you on your own, you are the equivalent of just that bum rambling on the street corner.
That's about right.
And they're definitely looked down upon by the rest of the tribes. And again, it kind of goes back to their name, Bonar. They're given the scraps.
Next, we have the Children of Gaia. This is a tribe that follows Unicorn. And they generally believe they look for more peaceful solutions, which is a little counterintuitive for a warrior race, I'll grant you. They look down on things like the infighting amongst the Garou Nation. They often work to try to be mediators, keeping the peace between the different tribes. They feel as if it's in the best interest of all to try to encourage humanity to be less awful. And as a quick aside, just don't get us wrong, humans are kind of a problem in the world of darkness, the setting of which this game takes place.
They're a very antagonistic force.
They tend to be, yes. So the children of Gaia seek to try to improve humanity by kind of guiding them.
Mm-hmm.
And again, want to cut down on the infighting of the Garou nation.
Yeah, no, that is a noble goal since, this is a race of, once again, natural-born warriors. A lot of times, the Garou nation is kind of known for, hey, and you've got a hammer, all of our problems are now nails, including our neighbor who we just don't like. This is when the children of Gaia do step into that role as mediators and try to keep Garou from killing each other over pointless matters, to keep the nation together, to keep Garou society running and focused on the bigger threats.
On the downside, there is a stereotypical answer to these that if we're warriors, why shouldn't we be fighting? There's a contingent to the children of Gaia altogether that they're very pacifist. That's kind of going against everything the Garou nation stands for, being warriors, being defenders. That doesn't really help when it comes to being Gaia's claws and fangs if we can't or don't want to use what we have to fight and defend.
It's kind of the opposite of the every problem is a nail.
Yeah, absolutely.
There are nails, though, because you're a hammer. Sure.
Yeah.
And CJ, who's next?
Next would be the Fianna. This is a tribe that is often, once again, going with back in the cereal box descriptions, a lot of people will sum the Fianna up as the Irish or Celtic Garou. It's not right, but it's not a bad lens to look at them from, the very, very basic. A lot of times these are, once again, proud warriors. That pride is probably the big part. These are natural bards and storytellers, craftsmen. They take pride in everything they do, and they live life to the fullest, taking every moment to celebrate life. Yes. They're also children of stag. Their totem is stag.
And we'll go back to my favorite part again. They're very family-oriented. They're very much, we defend our family, we defend our pack. Their kin mean more to them than anything else. Let's celebrate life. We look at a death of a Garou, and they don't mourn the death, but they celebrate the life that Garou had and the great times they had with them. They celebrate and they protect their family as best they can. They are absolute warriors.
Well, and while the Fianna do like to let the good times roll, that's also kind of the problem. Is because they sometimes roll a bit too hard. The Fianna, who, yes, as mentioned earlier, is often seen as the Celtic or Irish Garou, which they came from that stock originally, but maybe don't lean so much into Braveheart, do have a problem with controlling their passions with self-control.
Absolutely.
Because of this, they are the most likely to get blackout drunk and not remember the next day. They're the most likely to lose themselves to their rage and maybe wake up in an alley covered in someone's blood. They're also the tribe with the most instances of metis births.
And that goes back to the passion part.
Exactly. We get a little too drunk, something happens. They also treat their metis the worst out of everybody.
Which is kind of the funniest part.
It's unfortunate. It's a good tribe. But again, it's also a lesson in those passions and in that living life to the fullest, going maybe a bit too far sometimes.
Right.
And you know what time it is, do you now, Dana?
The next tribe would be the almighty Get of Fenris. Serving their totem, Fenris himself, the mightiest of wolves. The warrior's warrior. The strong survive. Second to only the Fianna about caring for and passionately protecting their kin, but also protecting all the lives of all Gaia the best way they know how, with strength, ferocity.
And that is definitely strength, is definitely the underlying word on this one.
Mm-hmm.
The Get of Fenris are the wrongest of the Garou nation. Fenris demands strength, but not just physical strength. Fenris wants the best of the best, and there is no greater warrior in the Garou nation than the Get of Fenris, also sometimes known as the Fenner, by the way.
Kind of old school versus new school.
Yep. They are definitely the warriors. You look at your Vikings, your Spartans, your Klingons. We all know that warrior race, the warrior class of the warrior race, the best of the best, and that generally tends to be the Get of Fenris. However,
sometimes they lean a little too far into being the best of the best, or, once again, making sure everybody is on their level. Because if you're not on their level, what the fuck are you doing? And this leads to a lot of clashes between them and many other Garou who they see as either not doing their job or not doing enough. Which, once again, often leads them to be almost the bullies of the nation at time.
I don't necessarily see that as a bad thing.
No, it's not. But there's also comes with the mentality of being the first one in, last one out. There are some Get of Fenris out there who are not known for their foresight when it comes to stuff like planning. Will often settle for the suicidal charge when maybe the retreat to fight another day was the better option, as they got a little too focused on doing their job and killing the enemy.
Attack first. Ask questions later.
Or never.
I was going to say, or to quote Ash Williams, shoot first, think never. Speaking of shooting, we look to the Glass Walkers next. Now, the Glass Walkers follow Cockroach, the ultimate survivor, and they are the other city-based tribe of Garou. They, however, where the Bone Gnars choose to live in the filth and in the alleyways, the Glass Walkers prefer penthouses and skyscrapers. They can't breathe poor people there. Most of their kinfolk, their allies and family, will take jobs within corporate America or will plant themselves, in positions of political power. A lot of lawyers, things like that as well. They work in human society, or their representatives work in human society. The Glass Walkers embrace technology quite a bit.
Which is one of their greatest strengths. If there is ever any information that a Garou needs to get off of a hard drive or a computer or some system, 9 times out of 10, you're going to go to a Glasswalker to take care of it, because either your character's not old enough to know how this shit works, or you want to get the information fast, and the Glasswalkers literally have some mojo and magic to make that happen. And with their connections to human society, they're and allies who are already in deep with some of these corporations, they have their finger on a pulse with a lot of the stuff going on with humans. If you gotta go through a city or you do anything involved with a corporation, having a Glasswalker to hold contacts because he knows a guy who knows a guy, or can break into any system out there, they are a very good ally to have for those reasons.
Yeah, the problem with being so close to humanity and almost relying on that, and relying on being kind of almost like the herders of the humans, kind of leaning too far away from their being Garou, what they were meant for. And they forget about all that stuff, where it's let's worry about humans and what the humans can help with us, or what the humans can give for us, not what we can do for the rest of the Garou nation. Not how we can help Gaia. I mean, it's maybe a little selfishness.
The next tribe, which, now that I'm looking at this is funny, this has worked out this way, is the next tribe is the Red Talons, the second tribe with a sort of exclusion. Red Talons are a tribe of almost nothing but Lupus born, with the exception of the occasional Metis. This is an exception there. These are a tribe of Garou who focus heavily on the wild, on nature, and very much see humanity as the problem a lot of times. After all, who builds the oil rigs, who cuts down the forest, who builds the nukes, does all the war. And these are a much, much more savage group of Garou. Usually very direct and to the point. If a talent tells you something, there is no deception. There's usually no second meaning to it. It is exactly that. And their totem is Griffin.
And being Red Talon, and being almost exclusive Lupus, they're so close, almost the exact opposite of Glasswalkers. They are so close to that nature side of things. They're the bare bones of protecting nature and protecting Gaia. They have one focus, and that's it. Nothing else will stand in their way. We're wolves among anything else. Nothing will stop in their way, especially the humans.
And that falls into, I guess, part of the downside, is a tribe of Lupus. They wear their hatred for humanity pretty well on their sleeve, if they bothered with sleeves. This is a problem, obviously, because as Garou are part man, part wolf, and part spirit, that's a whole third, much like the Glasswalkers. It's a chunk of their natural being that they're ignoring, or that they're at odds with. They can be pretty hostile toward humans.
Oh, big time.
Pretty antagonistic, which can also be a problem in terms of they have been known to maybe go to war on a smaller scale with humans.
The stories of people who go missing in the forest, never to be found.
Yeah, that would be unfortunate victims who've crossed a Red Talon's path sometimes.
Then next up would be the Shadow Lords.
Yeah, wait.
The Shadow Lords are kind of like the second in command of the entire Garou nation. They follow and serve Grandfather Thunder. They're kind of get it done no matter the cost.
Definitely, do the ends justify the means is definitely a question that the Shadow Lords pose. And seeing as the means is stopping the end of all creation, anything pretty much goes. They're the tribe that isn't overly concerned about political leanings or public perception or getting their hands dirty. They're about getting the job done. Many of them take very dangerous jobs. There are many that work within Garou politics. There are some that are master manipulators. But they are definitely the ones that are hanging in the darkness, getting the work done, which can lead to some negatives as well. CJ?
Yeah, it's one of those things. They are often a very Machiavellian style people, or follow the simple mantra of it by any means necessary. It often leaves them with a very small amount of friends and allies, unless they're a particularly good Shadow Lord, but at the same time, it also paints the tribe as schemers and manipulators and backstabbers. Most Garou, when they find out about the Shadow Lords for the first time, usually one of the things they hear first is that man is lying to you, he hasn't even opened his mouth yet. Or he wants something from you, don't give it to him. So, they have earned this reputation that is indefinite, and while not unjust, there are some of them who are a little too ambitious for their own good. Some of them who believe they should be in charge.
Do the ends justify the means?
How about that? And from there, we move on to the Silent Striders. The Silent Striders, who serve the totem Owl, are largely noted as messengers and wanderers in Garou society. Their entire tribe was cursed by vampires a long time ago, and because of that, they're haunted, meaning that they generally don't stay in one place for too long, otherwise they get overwhelmed by the dead looking for favors. It's a whole thing.
While they are cursed to wander and be haunted, this has been mostly a boon for them, as it's helped them forge a large network of just information, be it through formal or informal means of, there's very few things a Silent Strider doesn't know or can't find out very quickly through word of mouth, talking to people, or just web that is their tribe. Now, their connections to the dead and being cursed by vampires, if you're ever running into a ghost, you have no better Ghostbusters than the Silent Striders, and you also have no better vampire hunters than them.
What about Egon?
As many of them have made a vendetta of wiping out the vampires.
Or Blade? Some motherfuckers are always trying to ice skate uphill.
Nice. With that comes the downside of they're usually on their own. Can't stop, because once they do, along comes that haunt, where that can cause extra problems for their pack if he has a pack. And if he doesn't, usually that's because he's a lone wolf. He's on his own, always moving. There'll be times where you can use this, maybe messenger or some kind, but they're also kind of maybe flakes. They don't always come through when you need it because of how much they're on the move. But then along comes the top of the Garou Nation, the leaders of Garou society, the rulers, the Silver Fangs, the followers and servants of Falcon, natural-born leaders and royalty of Garou Nation.
Yeah, the Silver Fangs are definitely the height of Garou aristocracy. They often break themselves up into different lodges and houses, each of which, claiming their own protectorates and usually leading them. Since the founding of the Garou Nation, they have been a shining example of the best that the Garou Nation has to offer. The shining leaders standing above all others. Except
there is, like the Silent Striders a little bit, there is a curse known amongst the Silver Fangs that, well, when they do get into positions of leadership, it's not uncommon for a Silver Fang to suddenly start going just a little crazy, becoming more of a tyrant, a madman, paranoid, and seeing enemies where there might not be any. And it has led some to question their rule, as well as the few of them who, through no madness of their own, are just tyrants, are just, it's my way or the highway. Which certainly does not go over well with a lot of rage-filled warriors being told, you have to do this because my bloodline is of X, Y, and Z, or I am a child of Falcon. It's really hard to stand on that unless it's people who subscribe to the fact that you are the de facto leader. And much like the nobility that they are kind of like human nobility that they are often compared to, there is a level of keeping it in the family that they have practiced over the years, which might also contribute a little bit to that madness, as they are focused on the purity of their blood a little too much at times.
You said it right, king, brother, cousin. It's just what was in my heart.
It's fine. It's funny.
This is good. So what do we have next?
Next up are the Stargazers. These are a tribe of seekers of enlightenment a lot of time. They are a little bit more focused on the spiritual aspects of Garou in the ways of understanding and trying to find the deeper meaning of things. A lot of times they take on the visage of warrior monks. They are these children of Chimera.
And with that, they focus on balance of all things. They know that the Garou are all rage monsters, but use their rage to their advantage and keep it from spilling out onto Gaia herself and any of Gaia's creations. They're able to use that balance to their own advantage. knowing what they are capable of and holding on before that rage gets the best of them. Having that deeper understanding of balance, they kind of, have more of an affinity to like puzzles and questions. They like to question things, but also to be able to use what they call Kailindo as their own kind of special fighting style to help them control that rage.
And while the Stargazers are definitely a contemplative lot, this is also a bit of a detriment. It's often said that they're so busy with their head in the clouds that they don't see the chainsaw aimed at their gut. They're also the smallest tribe in terms of number, and are often seen with a little bit of mistrust, or viewed with mistrust, and can be quite aloof. They're very foreign to the rest of the nation, with a very Eastern kind of mindset that doesn't necessarily click with everybody else.
Then who would be next?
Next up, we have the Uktena, which are one of two surviving tribes, known as the Pure Ones. They serve the spirit known as Uktena, taking their name from their totem. This is a tribe of predominantly Native American Garou, at least originally, but they tend to take in all sorts of outcasts or outsiders. They prefer that. They're a very mystical and spiritual tribe, which, well, is often a blessing and a curse.
It's definitely a blessing at times for them they have this deeper understanding of the spiritualism of Garou, of the world of spirits and spirits, as well as a deeper understanding of how the enemy works. This is one of the few tribes that can... Maybe there's an enemy who's too powerful to kill, but not too powerful to lock away. This is the tribe who would know how to do that, and there's an entire section of them dedicated to capturing and containing spirits of the worm, as well as uncovering lost and potentially forbidden knowledge to better the tribe and the nation.
Unfortunately, the Uktena are they're very secretive. They have all this knowledge, and they like to learn this knowledge, but they don't share it with the rest of the Garou Nation. They don't trust the rest of the Garou Nation. And because they don't trust the rest don't trust them. And this causes a lot of problems and a lot of infighting, and there goes back to your Garou politics. Maybe sometimes the children of Gaia are right at that point. The infighting is a problem. They only have trust for younger brother, the other of the Pure Ones tribes, the Wendigo. And the Wendigo follow, again, self-named totem, Wendigo himself. They're like survivalists. Again, they're part of the Pure Ones, one of the Native American tribe, but they're also fierce and brutal warriors.
No, that's true. It's not hard to argue that they are probably the second most ferocious warriors in the Garou Nation. They are fiercely loyal to their own people. They believe in the cause wholeheartedly. And they are loyal to Gaia, definitely. And are just, as you mentioned, Danny, they're just peak survivors. I think they're arguably, outside of the Red Talons, the best suited for life out in the wild, on a tribal level.
Unfortunately, much like the frigid north that the tribe is originally from, they are a very bitter and cold people a lot of times. If there's anybody in the Garou Nation who can hold a grudge and keep it forever, it is the Wendigo. They still tell stories of the wrongs of other tribes, leading to a lot of mistrust from their side of things. It's hard to work with anybody but the people you know were on your side originally. And to that end, they're very, very self-reliant to a fault. They don't need any help from anybody. And a lot of times with their brutal survivalist aspect, they're willing to do anything to survive, even if it means breaking certain taboos. Much like their totem is a cannibalistic spirit, which is not entirely frowned upon in the tribe that is in the effort to survive or to serve Gaia.
And that's a quick look at the 13 tribes. Doesn't seem quick. But what we got here is really just scratching the surface of the Garou and the Garou Nation in general. You know, a quick something on each tribe, and if one of those fits the bill for you or seems interesting, we have a tribal series where we've covered all of these concepts, or probably all of these concepts in depth somewhere or another through the course of our episodes. But this here is a starter point to get the ball rolling a little bit. In fact, there are other concepts, things like the auspice, things like cairns, but those are all concepts for another day. Today we were talking specifically about the Garou. And we hope you enjoyed this first of probably many.
Oh, yeah.
Starter episodes. And I think next time we're either going to touch down on a bit of Garou society or creation itself. But that will be the next of the 101 series. In the meantime, we want to definitely thank you for stopping by. And hope this has been helpful or at least entertaining.
Entertaining at the least, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, well, we'll see.
And again, the ones who are here, this is your first time, and again, there's a lot of those, so kind of why we started it so late in the life of the show. Thanks for being here. We appreciate it.
Well, certainly, and welcome to the game. And hopefully this will get you, help get your foot in the door, help, make some decisions what you want to do, help build some interest. It's really a great game, and we really are just scratching the surface.
Oh,
yeah. The goal here was to give you the back of the cereal box descriptions of things. But stick with us. We got you covered, and we're going to show you the ins and outs and the beauty of this game. In the meantime, Danny, CJ, thanks for joining as usual.
Absolutely.
Oh, it's always fun.
And we want to thank all you guys for listening. Hopefully we'll hear from you next week for our next chapter of the actual play. Then, every other week. What are you doing? So in the meantime, though, on behalf of everyone here at Scratch Wolf Studios, CJ, Danny, and myself, we want to thank you for listening. Thank you for your support. And say take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. Keep your claws sharp. Your head in a swivel. And we'll see you. You know what you're getting into is the point.
Yep.
And don't see Borderlands.